Good evening, everybody. Welcome to League of Extraordinary Inventors. I'm your host, Mike from Faraday Research. It is Friday night, Free Energy Friday. It is September 5th, 2025. Welcome to the show. I'm back home in town as I had my vacation there last week in Calgary and was able to meet up with BurnEye on the Sunday and spend a few hours with him, checking out all his alchemy, and he took me for a little tour around town. And it was a lot of fun. We had a good time together for the few hours that we spent there on the Sunday, because that same day we actually head home. We headed home Sunday night around midnight. So that whole 5 days, it was really, really busy. Traveled all over Banff and Canmore and Lake Louise and Bow Lake and a whole bunch of sites downtown Calgary. It was an excellent vacation, and now I'm back to business. It's Friday night. Welcome, Philip, and we got Gerald on. We have Nathan on. We got Lulu on, and last but not least, we have BurnEye on. So
the whole and we're six in like the Power Rangers, huh? The 6 people.
the Power Rangers.
Bert and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie. Yeah, I've seen that Bert and Ernie's lair.
That's what we need next for a cartoon. Bert and Ernie Power Rangers.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start as we usually do with Philip. Maybe give us a little briefing on what's happened the last week or so and what he got on the horizon.
Sure. At the same time, I gotta go in an hour. So for the demystify presentation, or an attempt to present my theory for a second time there, but because there's a lot of views. I know it's very it's not a the best organized presentation, but I saw like Dr. Unzicker there, so that's why I kind of changed my mind. So there's a lot of viewers that watches that episode. So I'm gonna try to present my theory for a second time. The first time I did apply, but there was too many people and they didn't draw my name. But I'm gonna try again. So yeah. So by the way, I'm gonna share my screen. There you go. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you're all good to go.
So I'm not gonna play it, but I saw today Tim Ventura interviewed Eugene Podkletnov. Eugene Podkletnov is somebody who had made an experiment back in the 90s about the spinning disc or superconductor disc or something like that, and he claimed to have measured the anti-gravity. He wasn't nobody really knew him that well back then, and he was kind of some sort of yet another ghost, researcher that nobody knew. So Tim Ventura interviewed him carefully and today, and he got some update from him, and Eugene is still working on the anti-gravity stuff, but now he's not using superconductors anymore. Not only is not using superconductors anymore, but he's using a spinning magnetic field. So he claims that the spinning magnetic field has stronger effects than just a spinning disc by 10 times. But spinning my magnetic field might be. I mean, I know the induction motor, you can do that by induction, but I don't know if the inducted magnetic field will work for anti-gravity. Maybe you need a spinning magnet. I'm not sure, but seems to be. I mean, if it's 10 times better than my MHD vortex of liquid gallium, then I mean, good for him. But I'm not convinced yet that it's more scalable than the MHD vortex, because if he uses AC, then AC you have a limit of what is the frequency of the AC current. So, well, I'm not convinced that it's a better scalable solution than the MHD vortex of liquid gallium. So, but strangely, Tim Venture did not mention my name in the presentation there. Don't know why he's ghosting me again. But I'm gonna try to present at Ashton Forbes as well. Somebody recommended they do a presentation with Ashton Forbes. I looked at his profile. He doesn't seem like a crank or anything like that. He's kind of underground a little bit, but he seems to be an open-minded person. So I did try to contact him by email tonight. So we'll see what he says. And and also I got an answer, a clear answer from the U.S. Navy, and they are very interested into what I do, but they say I'm still too much in early stages. So man, so I just started applying for jobs on the West Coast, on the U.S. West Coast, and because there's no money here. Let's face it, I can't do anything. All I'm doing is paying taxes over taxes in Canada. So I need to get out here and move to the West Coast. The salary is like greater than here, so I'm gonna be able to pay for everything, to self-fund my experiments there. So that's and also I'm gonna be able to apply to pay some people, a group of people, to apply for grants in the U.S. So I know exactly who to talk to. I know exactly what to do. I just need the money and get out of here. So,
You know what the problem is with the government here? They don't like spending money on preventative things. They always want to spend money on fixing things after, something. But to prevent it to begin with, they don't like spending money on that. They like learning always
Yeah.
the hard way on things.
yeah, they're reactive. They're not proactive. It's even worse in Canada, but at least the military is more proactive for having the best technology available. So that's the good thing. And I know they don't have it because otherwise they wouldn't say, they wouldn't invite me. They keep inviting me. They invited me again in Honolulu at the end of September. So they're the ones who keep inviting me, and that's like the top the top meeting for all the companies in the world that end up being selected there, and they're the ones inviting me, like sending me emails to go. So they're clearly very interested into what I'm doing. But I can't say that I'm broke and I can't go and things like that. So I find excuses, but no, I'm done being broke, man. I'm just getting the hell out of here.
Is
Very
that
simple.
the same conference in September 13th? Is that the one in Texas?
No, that's not the one in Texas.
Okay.
That's the end of September. That's in Honolulu.
Oh yeah, you spoke that to us about that one. Very cool. Yeah.
So yeah, man. People say that the military is creepy. I mean, the CIA, they're not creepy at all. The CIA is a lot more creepy than anybody else. But not the military. They're very open-minded for. If you got the solution, then they'll listen to what you have to say. You know. So yeah, that was my update, my 10 minutes, my 15 minutes update here. Yeah. And
You're
Well, at
on it
least you're-
still. Go ahead.
But at least at least you got their attention, right?
yeah, they
You
are.
never know, right?
Yeah, and also while working on, I had the solution for the force field and the antimatter genesis. But the problem with the force field is I wanted to use an electric field to generate the force field. But an electric field is hard to control, so I said, why don't I use the antimatter to create the force field? It's a lot more powerful. So and you can control more easily photons than a bubble of electric field. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just gonna just narrow down my technology at the same time. So yeah, that's a cool thing. So maybe next week, who knows? Maybe next week I'll be next to the beach.
Yeah, really.
Nice.
On the beach of San Diego.
No, and there's gonna be in the Bay Area this time.
Oh, okay.
San Francisco.
Oh,
In
San
Santa
Francisco.
Clara.
Ooh,
Santa Clara.
I heard San Francisco's kind of in rough shape right now.
Yeah, not there. It's more in Santa Clara, San Jose, Mountain View.
Enjoy the earthquakes.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll welcome them. As long as I got my palm trees and my boat, I'll be happy.
There you go. They're actually
Nice.
fun to ride out. I rid one out in BC. There was a big earthquake. Couldn't walk across the living room. It was just like a ride at the X or something. It was fun.
Yeah, there's somebody, I'm not gonna name his name, but there's a lot of materials. They are aware of a lot of materials they could use to make the buildings earthquake proof.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they have a solution, man. I don't know what they're waiting for, but they can definitely commercialize that and make a lot of money by making like I heard some people have like aluminum with the strength of tungsten, and very very light but very strong at the same time.
I could use some of that.
Yeah, they are much more advanced than you can imagine. So, but the civilian world will look like we're still living in the 1950s. We still have cars on gasoline, and we barely have electric cars, and you know what I mean. we're very deficient on the real technology that exists all out there.
But it's kind of funny though, because when cars first came out, they were electric.
Yeah, and the water engine existed a long time ago as well.
We went back,
and the aluminum engine as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Yep, we
like
went
the
totally
one where it
backwards.
had a wheel in the back that would go down and lift the car and
Yeah,
parallel
go
park it.
sideways. Yeah, I've
That,
seen
like,
that.
you know, baffled my mind on. They
I
had
know.
that since God knows when, and
That
why
was
isn't it
around.
on right now, you know?
That was made like 1905. That video.
Very
Right?
simple idea. Like, it should be on, you know, like, should be a standard on all cars. Why not?
I know.
Yeah.
And well, there's some cars out now. I've seen some of the higher end cars with 4-wheel steering, but not like utilizing it like that video that I seen of the old. I guess it was a Model T, or no, it was bigger than that. It was another model, but yeah, you know, some of the stuff they had back then was we don't even have today. It's weird.
Definitely by design.
Yeah,
Right?
some of the stuff
Definitely
they had in some of the stuff they had in the 1880s, like some of the battery technology they had back then, it all disappeared.
Yeah, it was better
Well,
than some of the batteries we have today.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a whole whack of batteries that they were using back in the 1880s to run the telegraph system. They were using, I think, one of them they were using magnesium, and another one they were using zinc or iron. And the batteries rarely ran out of power. They were using it to run the telegraph. So, yeah, they said they had some interesting tech in the 1800s. If you really dig deep into it, you'd be surprised what they had back then.
Yeah, they were really good at using static electricity.
Yeah. Oh,
They weren't all yet connected by this, like, network, you know, from any point to any point. So they had to generate different ideas locally. You remember the population grew.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
It was.
you know, it's
They
different
didn't really
time.
have a. Yeah, they didn't have a centralized power system like we have today, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, everybody had to be kind of like almost electrically self-sufficient on their own, and that's the direction I feel we have to go again. We have to get off the grid. We have to get as a decentralized power system. That's the only way we're going to go forward.
That's coming whether we. I think that's coming whether we like it or not.
Yeah, because all these data centers do want to start deploying. Like they're opening one here, not too far from where I live, and we only got 2 major power plants within the GTA where I live. And since that data center goes up, that thing's going to be a royal pig on hydro. It's going to take all the hydro.
Absolutely. The data centers in the United States are already taking 40% of the overall country's power.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse, right?
And for what? Zeros and ones? Like, come on.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, how's it going?
What do you think of AJ? How's it going?
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Welcome.
You want to introduce yourself and what you work on? Or
Yeah, sure thing. Well, I met BurnEye just a little while ago, a few weeks ago at the Teslatech conference. So that's how I kind of got connected with him. I'm currently studying electrical engineering. Main focus is geophysical survey and underground imaging. I'm currently working with Primary Water Technologies. So we're a geophysical company specializing in underground water location or locating for water well.
Like LiDAR type deal?
It's a type of light. Well, it's not really LiDAR. So our main process is a form of sonar. So it's a form of passive seismic, and we correlate that with another type of technology.
So shotgun shell into the ground and grab the echolocation and
similar, not quite as yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a question to Nathan or Gerald or anybody. So, like I was saying earlier, Dr. Poklenov said that magnetic fields generate a strong spinning magnetic fields generate a stronger anti-gravity effect than a spinning disk or spinning gallium or whatever. But I know it's pretty easy to create a spinning magnetic field by induction. But do you know do you know how to create the spinning magnetic field by by a rotating magnet or something like that, or something more efficient than a rotating magnet? Like
I just use solid state winding with my coils, and I get magnetic spin all the time.
oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, you said that at some point, yeah.
You can see I've got multiple videos with the magnet sitting in the center of the coil, and it's not only turning around the inside center of the coil, but it's centrifugally, I always say that word wrong, turning at the same time as it's spinning around the inside core. So yeah, it's absolutely vortexing.
Okay, because you can definitely measure, because we're two now. We're two, me and Dr. Poklanov. We have similar results, and if you can, I don't think you need a lot of current to generate
Not at
weight
all.
loss.
Actually. Not at all. I use the vacuum F for that, or what some call inductive reactance.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, I think you said you observed that also at some point.
Yeah, actually, in almost every coil I've built, there's a few that don't. But yeah, vortex through sacred geometry, that's the key. There's so much to learn from it.
Even Thomas Townsend Brown, when he was doing his anti-gravity experiments, he was using like 200,000 volts, but he was only using about 100 microamps. Very, very little current, but extremely high voltages. And he was still able to achieve lifting effects even in a vacuum. So, that just goes to show when you're creating magnetic field or flux, current is not needed. You don't need very, very little current. A lot of voltage, yes. And that's what Tesla was doing. He was working with millions of volts.
Yeah, that's because voltage creates a difference of energy potential. That's why you have a force. Yeah, that makes sense. But in my case, I'm using amps because I want to move. I'm using the Lorentz force to move the gallium,
Right.
but it's not the same thing. And indirectly, I need the gallium to move to create the gravito-electromagnetic field. But it's two different cases. But yeah, that makes sense when I think about it. Because voltage, that's what it is. It's a difference of energy potential, and that's gonna create a force.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and if you use the right vortex system, the very potentials that you're going to get will stem from charge separation. So when you're putting voltage in, say, 12 volts, like my last video, when I shut my function generator off, it went into resonance and I was producing 176 volts on my secondary and 76 volts on the ferrite core that was half an inch from the coil itself and faced outwards. So it all comes down to how you design the coil itself if you're going solid state. Spin is the key, man. Angular momentum is what you want to try and achieve, basically.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that's a very dense half hour for the first half hour conversation. That was very productive. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Dense like my head.
We're here to help.
You're going to have to have a high voltage potential, a magnetic potential. You're also going to need to build a null zone, and then you're going to need to pump the null zone. Okay? The energy that you're putting into it is going to be very minimal. The energy that you want to get out of it is coming from the null zone itself. You must compress and decompress it consistently in order to get the energy to amplify higher. Okay? And then you can also use that as your vector direction. If you only do it on one side, then it's only going to go one way. Okay? But that's the key to it, is you have to pump the null zone. That's where all of your energy in, because it's pulling like a vortex into everything. And then by compressing and decompressing it is where you're going to pull your energy. it's the same thing that Mike showed here, that when you have 9 volts at 2 plates, put them together, you get a Casimir effect, pull them apart, you get 1,000. Why is it? Because you're sucking in energy from the environment itself, creating an energy potential that's much higher, but you're continuously doing it. So you're continuously building up the energy. So the energy that you're putting in has to be very minimal, because the energy that you're pumping out of the center is very high. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you can create a temperature differential around the entire
With
thing.
a solid state vortex coil, the very potential you put in creates a magnetic field from the spin itself. And that potential creating a charge separation, just the very differential from what you put in to what you get out, allows you to collect current just from the very flow itself.
That's
And the
absolutely
null
right.
zone, it's created by that flow of 2 different spins being interacting in the center of itself, and then the null is created in between the 2.
And
So,
that's be counter to each other, yeah.
The null zone's where the magic happens. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, man. So now I'm gonna buy a solenoid or a capacitor, a parallel plate capacitor, and start messing around with that, man. Just like you guys. Finally,
Just try finding a surplus store somewhere in Montreal. Start looking around. Check your yellow pages or whatever, so see if you can find a surplus.
The problem with a solenoid coil is you only get 1 compression line of null, if that makes sense. I know that's not scientifically terminology, but you only get 1 line of compression. If you do it in a like a geometrical form, and you put the right amount of windings on it, of course, and they're not perfect. There's lots of variations. You'll get more of that null zone that you're trying to contain, which is basically like electrostatic confinement through what a lot of people would term reverse field configuration. Basically, like we had talked about prior, you're building a coil that's 180 degrees out of phase, and you base it on sacred geometry. You're going to be like through the roof.
They create saturation zones in order to hold each energy type inside of it.
Well, you saturate your pickup cores, and that's how you get your energy out.
Yeah. Well, that depending on which side you make it more windings on, one's going to be more magnetic than the other, and you're going to get your differential already between the 2.
I want to show you guys something. Would this work as a coil? Let me show you something. It's art, but it's also a base for a coil configuration. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah.
Center is the null zone. Is it clear?
Oh, yeah,
I see your cup of tea, no?
Try
see
to
the
center
corner
it.
of it.
Yeah,
Huh?
try to center it more. Try to center it more, Lulu.
Like this?
There we go.
There we go.
Yep.
Back away a little bit, and then you can see the whole thing.
That wouldn't be an easy wind for sure.
No,
It'd
no.
be pretty complicated.
I don't know if I could do that one.
Well, I
looks
because this is this is one of like the old sacred geometries, like this has been passed down for many generations, so it has to have some kind of meaning behind it.
Well, if you take it in layers, then it might not be so bad.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing something clear where I could like peg it and then follow the transparent from on top. Just
You'd have to peg each cross section that you see, so each point.
yeah.
All
Put
of
the
the
pegs
lines.
first,
Maybe that'd
and
be
then
an interesting coil to see.
it's an idea.
Actually, I gotta sorry to kind of switch topic here. AJ, I have a question for you. Are you familiar with Eric Dollard's work on his earthquake detection?
He sounds very familiar. I believe some colleagues mentioned him before, but I never.
You might want to really investigate his work on his earthquake detection.
Okay.
He was basically using about 4 to 10 miles worth of radio antennas are like basically the old bell lines, the
Mhm.
telephone lines, hooking it up in a loop antenna and hooking it up to an AM radio. So just prior to a seismic event, the radio starts making a huge amount of squealing noise. So he's picking up a huge, well, actually, an enormous amount of electrostatic discharges going through the ground just prior to an earthquake. So his system got so accurate, he could predict an earthquake within 10 to 12 hours of the actual event.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
definitely.
so anyways, to make a long story short, he presented this to the U.S. Geological Survey, and it blew up into something really ugly. They went
Yeah.
after him, and they didn't like that too much.
Yeah,
So,
that's something I've been very interested in, is just getting into the water industry itself. It's very similar to the power situation, like with early, Tesla and JP Morgan, is where,
yeah,
we're looking at these underground spots where, for instance, the Arizona Department of Conservation and a bunch of other departments, they're saying, oh, there's limited water supply, but with the company that I work for, we can scan these properties, and if you find a fracture zone in a area that's typically has 12 boreholes, dry boreholes on it, and we've had case studies where we hit 30, 50 gallons a minute, but it has to be very precise drilling right on top of a fracture zone. And it's a pretty much inexhaustible amount of water. So it's really interesting to see how it, kind of correlates to like almost like the Tesla JP Morgan, where there's a limited supply. It's just who's control in the distribution of it. And it's really
exactly
monetary.
And you know what? That's going to be a very important resource in the next, say, 10 to 20 years is water. And that I know for sure. If you control, the power and you control the resources, you're at their mercy.
Right.
If they cut off the water supply, what happens to everybody?
Exactly.
Right.
Aren't there
But,
technologies that can harness water from the atmosphere, even in dry zones?
Yep.
Absolutely.
There's
So,
several.
there are ways to still generate water.
High voltage will do it.
Yep. The guy from Plasma Channel, he did a very good.
Oh, he did an
build on
awesome job at it. Yeah.
He did a really good build on that. Yeah. Just water.
I don't know, AJ, if you're aware of what we work on. Nathan's the Tesla coil king. He works on all the Tesla coils.
Okay.
Lou's the idea, she's the idea queen. She comes up with ideas that just blow all of our minds. Phil's into doing force fields and all kinds of other tech. Mike's the battery guy, and I'm the coil guy. So we all work on sort of alternative things to get at electricity, and some of us are working on anti-gravity as well. So just so that you're aware. Yeah.
Very cool.
Tonight we're just connected the dots, so it's a good timing to be here.
Yeah. The battery tech I'm working on presently is basically a self-recharging battery that lasts about 10 to 20 years. So I've been working on that for about 2.5 years now, and I got several prototypes I have testing right now, and I'm getting some really, really good results right now. So, and I also do pulse motors and over Unity motors. So I've been working on my Renegade device for about 8 years now. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I've been working on my theory for the last 15 years, just to give you an idea. Now, now I'm getting down to experimentation, and everything seems to be working so far, but I'm not done yet.
Yeah, we're all at various stages of our research. I'm about to do a big unveil. I've been kind of egging people on for the last month and a half. Nathan's kind of chomping at my bit, going, "Hurry up and show what you gotta show." So yeah, we're all kind of at various stages here, but it's all good fun,
Yeah, you've been in the.
I'm being invasive, I know.
Spotlight. It's your spotlight time now, Gerald.
Keep things secret. You know how it is, Phil.
You see, we got to bust Gerald's balls for at least 3 months, man,
Of
before
course.
he reveals
Of
anything.
course.
Yeah, it's like a minimum.
Gotta keep
And then
it
I
in the
reveal it,
spirit
and
of
then
things.
scientific papers are written about it because NASA came out with it a week prior. Just like
And the things that I've been seeing, like everything we talk about, they put it under this like flashy, channel or flashy headline, and they give it to somebody else. And I'm just like, wasn't this what we talked about maybe, months ago or
Yeah.
we're
maybe
ahead of the
years
curve,
ago?
Lulu.
But like, it's just, I don't know.
We're
I just
ahead of
feel
the
like
curve.
most of the ideas are being ripped off from
Well, it's
here.
like that. It's like the 0 point energy chip that they're starting to build now. Um, I'm so interested in it. I think I'm going to actually work on that. So if I can come up with this 0 point energy chip,
Wasn't
that would
that
be
similar
pretty
to
awesome.
what Bedini was doing with transistors?
It's kind of like the diode thing, but you're using a 1 nanometer layer of graphene, and you have to somehow suspend it in a matrix that it'll allow the graphene to fluctuate um, as the 0 point energy fluctuations move against it, and keep that movement of the graphene. It would be waving up and down like this, and then you would have like 2 electrodes on either side to pick up the voltage differential. So there's a couple guys out there, Sonny White, I believe his name is. He's got some chips in production now that are actually putting out about 3 volts at about 100 microamps.
Yeah, he was on Joe Rogan, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on Rogan, and he also was on somebody else's show. Who was it? I think he was on Tim's show, Tim Ventura.
He was.
Yeah, he was on Tim's show as well. So he's one of quite a few people that are working on this. So it's gaining a lot of traction. I think that's pretty promising stuff that's coming out. So it's not more a theory anymore. They're actually building practical devices. Like Sonny White said, right now at the stage we're at, we could run like watches and small electronic devices, put it in cell phones to recharge your cell phone when you're not using it, and you got to start somewhere, right? So start with the small devices and then build your way up. So
absolutely, they're finally starting to talk about a lot of the things that for the last 16 years have been working on, and they're talking about stuff that Nathan's been doing, and so it's interesting what the scientific community are working on. They're finally coming around full circle to the stuff we've been discussing over the last 5-6 months, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It's getting traction. It's getting some traction now, right?
Yeah. One thing that's funny is in the interview of Dr. Potladnov this morning, he said that in order to be accepted by the mainstream, he must not say that Einstein or Newton were wrong, So that's evidence right there. The mainstream is highly corrupted,
I'm sorry. Academia looks at those two guys like gods. They're just men.
Yeah.
They came up with calculations. Good for them. Awesome.
Einstein was wrong on space-time, bending space. What a moron.
He was wrong on he was wrong on the fact that his E equals MC squared is not finished. But now, was he wrong, or did he get it right, and the powers that ought not be took that last part of the calculation out?
He didn't get it right, and he plagiarized it from Henri Poincaré.
Oh yeah, I know. I remember. Yeah.
And actually, Newton in the first place wasn't wrong, but he was kind of unfinished because he dismissed rotation, and rotation. You got that last time, Nathan. Rotation, because there's no Newton was assuming there's like a static absolute grid, but everything is relative. Like all the planets, they have a frame of spinning frame of reference. So there's no absolute frame of reference. You know what I mean? So Newton kind of dismissed rotation, So, for example, if you have, this is the question I asked Jack Sarfatti, and he couldn't answer, and he tried to dodge every. Like I'm asking them all these questions, and they can't answer. They all dodge me. All these PhD, they try to keep their little pride for some reason, but all they can do is dodge my question. But if you have an empty star, I mean a spinning star. If you have a spinning star in an empty universe, can the star lose his plasma because it spins so fast? Can it spin in the first place if it's an empty universe? So I asked them this question, and they couldn't answer because maybe they could have answered, but if they would have said, if they would have answered, then it would have mean all their academia background is all wrong because.
Well, if you admit certain things that are wrong in academia, you actually have to admit that free energy is possible, fusion's possible, that the nuclear program, when we figured it was over, was just beginning. Like, there is so much research that we're barely scratching the surface on. It's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and when it comes to what was the guy's name there that you were saying?
Sarfatti.
No, not Einstein, but the other one. I'm sorry, I always forget his name. Newton. I always forget his name. I don't know why. Yeah. Mainly because what I heard was he was a promoted individual. He got his information from the Library of Freemasonry. So was he really the genius that everybody thought he was? I don't know.
Well, he plagiarized a lot. The German guy, Leibniz, something like that. You know, the German guy who invented calculus as well.
Oh yeah, I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Leibniz, I think his name. There was a competition between the two, and I think Newton hired the wife of Leibniz to spy on him. You know, that was pretty crazy brutal. Even back then.
Yeah.
Brutal. Talk about an inside track, right? That's rough.
Yeah, it's incredible, man. Wow.
On another subject, Bernie had said something about we should ask AJ about his grandfather, his family history, and his storage unit full of plasma ray tubes. So should we be asking AJ about these things or not?
I mean, I can share a little bit. But yeah, I've been my grandfather, I can say, a little bit. He was very involved into signal analysis and wave amplification. So he was an engineer, peaked during the 60s and 70s during the aviation boom, specifically in recording, so audio recording and also relaying and amplification. So he naturally got very into analog equipment because, just the main transition from vacuum tubes to transistors, he noticed a severe drop in quality because you're going from analog signals to digital, and you can't really replicate certain audio as well as certain electrical phenomena with them. So pretty much, you take that, and from the 60s on to about 2020, he's was collecting and has a very vast amount collection of just very interesting different types of high voltage tubes. I'm not sure what he meant by vacuum ray tubes. I think maybe meant CRTs or cathode ray tubes. But yeah, oscilloscopes and that sort of things. And I inherited it when he unfortunately passed away not too long ago. So I've been, discriminating a lot of that and kind of carrying on his work in that sense.
Wow, that's killer.
How far did you get into the oscilloscopes?
Right now, I haven't really set up a lot of them. Basically, a lot of them are sitting on shelves. I haven't really ran a whole lot of experiments on them, but most of them are working in good condition.
You can run the old school, the analogs in the XY configuration, and have them put out 3D images.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I actually have an old tube, but I got to figure out how to do that, Nathan, because it's just sitting on my shelf.
I should send you a video because it's pretty cool. It's the same thing that what was her name that everybody loves?
Sheila?
who?
Sheila?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She that's what she does.
That's awesome. I'd love to learn how to do that. Love to see my coil in 3D on the scope.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing, man, because then you can take the ratio and project the amplitude and then get various flowers and all kinds of cool stuff. It's all sacred geometry.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the recording of that video 2 or 3 times because I need to understand what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, which one?
For all the way from the beginning, but that's okay. I'm just talking to myself out loud right here.
Yeah. Well, I'll put something together for you if that's what you want, so you can look it over and then just get the videos for you and pull them.
Yeah, cool.
Send it to you on Facebook.
Okay. Awesome.
What's going on, Tim Tron? Say hi to Tim in the chat. Sorry. Tim's working on a cool experiment, man. I can't wait until he finalizes that thing. He's got a bunch of Tesla coils and he's trying to pull like an over unity on them by putting them together in configuration. You know what I mean? Like 4 coils around the center coil with the primary and bursts all out to all of them. And then you put it into caps. And then he's got some cool stuff like a bit and everything to put into it, which is just like this whole little home power plant is what it looks like. It's 3 coils. It has big bars on the top and bottom, man. So Tim's awesome. He's got an over unity invention already.
Okay. Cool.
I'll put that together for you, Phil.
Awesome. Thanks.
Well, I hate to cut it off short, but I unfortunately have another call and meeting that I need to get to. But it was lovely meeting everyone, and hope to reconnect in the future.
Nice
It
meeting you.
it wouldn't be the Demystify meeting by any chance?
I'm sorry?
It wouldn't be the Demystify meeting by any chance?
I am not sure currently. I will speak with Barney about that.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, later.
See you later, brother.
Have a good one, AJ.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Oh, man.
You're just excited for the Demystify side, Phil?
Yeah, but I'm just gonna wait another 2 hours, and they're not even gonna call my name again. Watch.
What is it you're looking for? I don't understand what this is.
Like, how long do they go on?
Yeah, their show lasts 2 hours. I applied for the Demystify Science show tonight, but I did apply for their last show a month ago or something like that. But they did not draw my name, and I just waited 2 hours for nothing.
So do they like pick it random, like from the
Yeah, I
people that
don't know.
apply?
There's like 40 people per show, and each person lasts 15 minutes, but they have 2 hours, so they can only show like what 8 people, not even 10. You know.
So if you guys get picked, tonight is the show. You go live on that. One of those people.
Yeah.
That they present. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
but
ask you questions for 15 minutes.
Got it.
Yeah, I have to attend because I applied, and if I don't show up, then I'm banned for life. But
Well, good
You
luck
know.
for
Yeah,
both
but
of you.
well, I was about to cancel to dismiss that show, but then I saw Dr. Unsecure appearing there and some
I mean, it sounds
some
kind of fun. Like, why not? Like, it's a 10
yeah.
minute thing. People ask you, and then like it's like looks like it sounds like a show or so. One of those game shows or something.
Yeah, like
I mean,
Yeah,
you
to get
know
your
the
theory out of the way.
the fastest who has an answer press a button or something like
yeah, like something like that.
that. We should do that, Mike. The fastest between us, all six of us, who
What's
has the answer presses the button.
that?
The cool idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, Nathan is our like creative, with the whole skits. I mean, you could do something like that,
Game show. Hey Nathan, put a
Yeah,
game
like
show together.
how like Nathan does his little videos. You can make one like that, like
Or
who
how about
gets
like something like make like your own version of like Jeopardy?
Yeah, exactly.
League of Extraordinary Jeopardy.
Yeah.
oh man, that's bad.
I'll be. Who would we make as Pat Sajak?
Yeah, that would have
Okay.
to be Bernie.
Bernie? Pat Sajak. Oh man, he was Canadian, by the way.
Oh yeah, totally.
Pat Sajak was?
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, he was born in Kingston, Ontario. Yeah, same with what's his name from Star Trek, William Shatner.
Oh,
Yeah, he's from Montreal.
Shatner? No, he was born in Kingston.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was born in Kingston.
Oh, that's interesting. Kingston, the little military city where the military complex is in Kingston.
Oh, I've never been. Oh, well, I've been to Kingston, but I never went to the military base there.
Yeah. Yeah, my female cousin, her husband and her family is there, and they live happily there. So.
Where in Kingston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been to Kingston, been to Ottawa, been to Montreal. So.
Yeah. Montreal is awesome for the nightlife. But what I like about Montreal is it's all at the same place. There's St. Catherine and everything is at the same place. You just park your car and you can walk. You can walk on St. Catherine and you hop. You do bar hopping. There's a lot of music bands, so it's very lively. So.
Sorry, I just got corrected. William Shatner was born in Montreal.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You still go bar hopping?
Bar hopping in Montreal, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gone bar hopping in a long time, man.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that the nightlife is. I'm not doing that, but I'm just saying that it is really lively. We're a bunch of vampires, we just hang out when it's nighttime.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, but man, it's already 10, man.
Toronto's getting too dangerous now for the nightlife. You go down there, you take a risk of getting shot.
Oh yeah, you can't defend yourself, Yeah. If the intruder gets into your home, you have to comply. But I mean,
that's
comply. He doesn't understand that when you're in a life death situation, you have an adrenaline boost.
Yeah, your
you don't always control what you're doing.
You know what I don't understand? Someone comes into your house, they stick a knife to your freaking throat. Nobody knows they're there.
Yep.
Do you get my drift?
Exactly.
So nobody's going to know when they leave.
That's
right. Don't come to my house.
Now you're thinking the way I'm thinking. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's such a load of shit, man. If you come to somebody's house while they're sleeping, you no longer have fucking rights. Okay, you're a piece of shit, and you deserve nothing more than what you get. Period.
Yeah.
And if the cops want to get involved, fuck, man. Like, that's such a load of shit.
There's
Meanwhile,
always
if somebody broke
exclusions.
into
Wait,
their
Gerald,
house-
there's always exclusions to that. Like
exceptions to the rule. I get that. But you know what? If you broke into a cop's house, he'd blow your freaking head off and go, oh, justified.
Yeah.
But what?
Okay.
We have to sit there and take it because we're public?
okay, there was a case that
You
listen.
got to tell him that he was begging to be shot.
Okay, there was a case
No,
here.
yeah.
There was
You
there was a
know
case
what it is in
here a few
Canada?
days ago that this guy shot a little kid because the kid was on his property. So there are always exceptions to the rule.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a
Well,
little
that's
bit
just
of-
an that's just an idiot.
So
yeah,
the
that's
law
extreme.
says, yeah, he had every right. Was it okay what he did?
Yeah,
understand?
but
Have
I'm
every
talking
right to
home
do that.
invasion.
You know-
You're asleep and you wake up and somebody's standing above you and you got kids in your house. All
Like a
bets
dead-
are off, man. All bets are
that's
off.
right. Yeah,
Yep.
100% agree.
Absolutely.
He might enter, but he might not leave.
Exactly. He
He
shouldn't have
was,
been
he
there.
was begging for
Okay,
something.
to carry a weapon, you have to really, really, really have high wisdom.
I
You
am a weapon.
understand? Like
I am a weapon. I don't need to
it's
carry a
not
weapon.
like if you have the opportunity and the law says okay for you to take it. Do you understand? There's a
Well, I
difference.
don't talk about taking.
Like
I don't want to
you
take
know,
his
like
life.
if so, carrying a weapon it's not what it's okay with the law. There's also a part from you as or as a human that like wants to carry a weapon to have that wisdom and
Yeah, but
decision
Lulu,
making.
we're talking about somebody breaking into your house while you're
Yeah,
sleeping.
that's good. Yeah,
You
while
know what
you're
I mean?
threatened.
That's your
Yeah.
sacred place of peace. And
Yeah.
somebody's
Yeah,
gonna
it
take that from you?
depends.
That's
it-
bullshit.
It depends on the context. It's like shit. I gotta go, but it depends on the context. So
Yeah,
like
you're not
Okay.
wrong. Every
If somebody
situation's
breaks into
different.
my house and let's say they steal my lawnmower, do you think I'm gonna really go out there with my gun and
Well,
shoot
yeah,
them?
but
Okay.
that's your law.
So
like,
this is
that's
where the
not your
wisdom
house.
part comes in. Is
This
it
is
worth
different.
it?
We're
no,
talking
but
about
the
somebody
thing.
standing over your bed while you're sleeping.
Okay,
with a knife.
maybe,
right?
but I think he's faster than me at that point. If he's already standing over
Maybe.
my bed and I didn't,
Maybe.
you know.
But what
Then
people
that,
don't
then by
understand.
then, you know, it's kind of.
What people don't understand is in these life death situation, you get an adrenaline
Yeah,
boost
that's right.
in,
That's right.
your
Yeah.
brain, you know, and you don't always like you need to survive. It's life or death. So you don't have
Absolutely.
time to ask the guy, do you have a gun on you, or do I need to pull out my gun as well? You know, you don't have time to
Like
negotiate.
whatever happened to basic self-defense rights, right?
That's
Like,
right.
It's
That's
gone.
it. That's what it boils down to. Yeah.
I'm sad.
Somebody-
I missed
somebody-
AJ.
You know,
Damn it. Alex is awesome. AJ, awesome young man. And hope he comes back. My apologies for being late. And
that's okay.
Phil, good luck on Demystify Sci.
Yeah,
kind of-
thanks. I gotta go right now. So
It's on now.
see you
so I gotta
later,
go too.
kiders.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good
guys.
luck.
Good luck, Phil.
Oh, darn it. And Gerald. Oh, well, that's okay.
Okay.
We got a show right here. Good thing I came back halfway through.
Are those two people that the guy that looks like an alien? He's like a yellow haired looking alien dude, and his girlfriend,
Demystified.
or wife.
I don't think I've
They're,
ever seen
they're really
the show.
strange. They don't.
Yeah, and they
have a
used
sense
to
of
be
humor?
puppets. Their show literally used to be alien puppets, like for the first couple years when they were interviewing people. Then they like kind of changed it where it kind of looks like between two ferns between them, sort of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
they're not in the right place. They're like no sense of humor. They're like the driest people in the world. Like they giggle, but it's like I feel like my skin's crawling when they do. I wrong?
No comment.
Okay, well then we all agree. All right, gotcha.
I haven't seen him. I gotta check these guys out at some point.
Nah, what's her name? Natalia, maybe, or maybe I caught that completely wrong. No, Anastasia, I think it is. Yeah, that sounds right. And what's the guy's name? It'll come to me. Anywho, I met him a couple times with the alien scientist when he was doing an interview with them, and they're decent, but yeah, I've been trying to like get a hold of them, and it's just a pain in the butt. And what Phil's doing is called their something drift podcast where everyone applies, they pull names out of a hat, and if they pull your name, you get like 5 minutes, and if they like your 5 minutes, then they do a 15-minute episode with you.
Oh, it sounds like control freaks.
Yeah.
Absolute control freaks. Their environment has to be perfect. Their shot has to be perfect. What they say has to be perfect. Can you say this word again? I didn't get the first lettering. Can you say the word again? It's like,
I
don't.
Something drift. It's Paradigm Drift. Paradigm Drift is the episode that Phil's applying for, but the channel is called Demystify Sci Podcast. They're not bad people. They try. They're just halfway there. I guess they're like a couple of Texas school teachers or something like that.
You see, I thought they were like aliens, like the people that came over, you know what I mean, from Venus or something. Like they were kind of those kind of people that like had no sense of humor because they don't know what Earthlings are like. That's the impression I got from watching them twice. I'm like, really, you're like cardboard. You're just like,
Could be why they originally tried with Muppets for the first couple years, but
did they really?
Yes, they did.
They had little Muppets.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The first 3 years of, but I don't want to hate. They're trying to do good work.
Where am I going wrong?
Oh, you got to give them a little crap. Oh man.
I should get a Michael Faraday puppet and just
yes, you should. I fully agree. Well, I guess I can't be too critical. I do have my own cartoon blood homunculus, I will call them, because they ain't no regular ones, because that's just creepy.
Dude, your pineapple one's the best.
Yeah, I got to bring back Pineapple Owl.
That one was the best.
Pineapple Owl. I've been trying to figure out something called EU lithography. Okay, and it's this process where they print things on chips, like embedded programs, preset things, and they layer them. So I was thinking, like, if somebody becomes like how Phil is going to become part of NVIDIA, right? Well, that means his programs got to be on that chip for when it gets mass produced. It's like one of the building blocks of any platform. So it's got to be on there. It's like how when you buy any device, you got preset things on there. Well, it's got to be in cavitated into those layers.
Yeah, it's like the firmware. Yeah.
It is like the whole technology is so cool, but it really does apply to a lot of the things you gentlemen are doing, honestly, because it's still, transmission of energy, but you're talking on the subatomic level, and how atoms, and they built this whole thing in, my God, like I thought it was really, really neat, the whole.
Yeah. Because that's why part of the reason why I want to start working on this quantum chip, the 0-point energy chip. If I can pull that off and make that, and then hook it up with the Renegade device, I got an infinite power source. You know what I mean?
The resonance, like on these things, the resonance creates that void. It's just it's the how you're how much energy you're running through those atoms and that lattice structure it creates.
Yeah.
So I mean,
like the 0-point energy device, the chip, basically is one lattice structure of graphene, 1 nanometer thick. And
are you talking about Sunny White's design or your own design?
Sunny White's.
Sunny White, yeah.
Based on Sunny White's idea, yeah. So I've got the graphene, and I got to start doing some experiments how to layer it on a matrix that it will still allow that 1 nanometer to actually fluctuate due to the 0-point fluctuation. If I can pull that off and then get a proper anode and cathode on there, I might be able to harness some power there. So, there's a lot of applications, even very small devices up to running a Renegade device. It's just you have to get many of those chips all daisy chained together.
It's like little transistors next to each other. That's like
Yeah,
how I.
kind of.
Yeah, like you just they have to talk to each other. Zeros or ones. Zeros or ones.
Oh, I gotta tell you, Bernie, your last guest was awesome. What was his name? The bald guy?
Oh,
He was
Ver-
really good.
Vernon.
Vernon Roth.
Vernon, yeah,
Absolute
Vernon Roth.
pillar
Yeah,
and
he's really
legend
good.
in the community.
Yeah, he's been around for a while, Vernon Roth.
Yeah, I was
Very-
watching that. It was really good.
Himself and his family have replicated and invented so many different devices over the years, and he's a main pillar in Teslatech. Although he had taken the last 9 years off, he was back this year, showed up, and then next year he's back to being the MC of the entire event. So introductions of all the presenters, as well as doing his own presentation again in 2026.
Yeah,
He's
take some of the pressure
absolute-
off of Steve.
Oh, for
Take some of
sure.
yeah, Steve's not a young chicken anymore.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy the amount of work and people and the team and just the family of Teslatech. Everyone here needs to be there for 2026. Let me tell you.
Nice.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
Good. Very good. Well, I can put you in contact with Steve if you'd like to be presenters as well.
Yep. So when the next Teslatech's going to be when next year?
Yeah, no, I think again first week of next August. Next year's August.
Nice. Anywhere closer to California?
It'll still be in Albuquerque.
Still be in
Albuquerque, New Mexico. But
Mexico.
I really do. I've fallen in love with that city, despite half of it embracing its Breaking Bad side. The other half is still fully employed and embracing their nuclear technology development history, although they all do realize that they're working on nuclear bombs. And yeah, it's an interesting place. Interesting place.
I thought about the technology that they were talking earlier about that, like the seismic scale, right, where it measures the earthquake. Well, what if we bombard it with an anti-wave? Wouldn't we stop it before it gets to the surface? Like canceling the two.
Yeah, if you're putting a cancellation.
Yeah, we'll cancel out.
Well, yeah, I mean, but we do have that technology. Wasn't that the things in Antarctica where they, drilled the ice and they lowered the little things and then they had them vibrate and create
the stuff that Dollard was working on was based on using the telephone poles with all the wire. It would be like a loop antenna for several kilometers in the areas that are most likely to have earthquakes. So he made several of these devices over the years, and they all got torn apart because all the politics and everything got involved in.
But wouldn't you want those things in the ground, not above the ground?
No, above the ground. Yeah, that was based on how his design worked, and it did work, and it worked too well. And when he presented this stuff to the U.S. Geological Survey, they wouldn't have any part of it. And they made his life a living misery afterwards. So that's a whole story all in its own. But the fact is, he had a working system, and they wouldn't embrace it. A device that could save thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people's lives in a major earthquake, say, right down by, where Nathan lives in that area, San Andreas fault line. Yeah, that's the ideal place to deploy a system like this.
Yeah, where you have active regions, and
exactly.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't think you can use an anti-wave. By the way, I don't think it works that way. You have to collect and change the waveform. You got to pull it right out of resonance. Is what you got to do, because the earthquake isn't just one waveform; it's in resonance. That's why it shakes so bad. So you got to destroy that resonance signal is what you have to do.
Yeah,
and an anti-wave won't do that.
Yeah, because like his signals were picking up the electro or the what's the word I'm looking, telluric waves below the surface, and his radio device was designed to pick up that static. Actually, he said it turned into like squealing noises at a very high tone, and he was able to get it within 12 to a 24-hour prediction of a major event. So this would have been an ideal device, but politics got involved again and destroyed it.
Yeah, because they could evacuate people faster.
Sure. They want death.
They
want death and destruction. They don't want to save people.
Yeah, you want to pull it into capacitance is what you want to do.
I never used to believe that that's possible, but lately I've been seeing a lot like, man, is this intentional, or is it just can't be all
even having all these solar flares. Like yesterday there was two solar flares back to back within a 3-hour period. Like I've been tracking the sun lately and it's been super active. We're getting pretty high G1 G2 solar flares. I haven't seen an X class. Well, last year was extremely active around March and April. We're getting X5 and X6 solar flares. Those are major solar flares, and yes, they do create earthquakes and also trigger volcanoes. It's just
they sure definitely do, and yeah, it is intentional. Dutch Sense, I'm not sure if you've all.
I follow him in one other
right.
guy.
And so Dutch, it's like he discovered the earthquake pattern and the energy like distribution system cycle, right? And how it connects to the sun, to the solar flares, and then how it moves around the earth. And he discovered this over 15 years ago, and it's all on his YouTube channel. He's almost got 1 million subscribers. They keep him suppressed. It should be at like 50 million because he's been accurately forecasting the next 1 week in advance earthquakes every week for 15 years straight using this method, and he's got over an 85% average of success each week for 15 years. That's just predicting one earthquake supposed to be impossible, yet his method has been proven consecutively accurate for 15 years straight every single week. And they suppress him, they try to target him, they put him on terrorist watch lists, just ridiculous amounts of suppression, and they call it quackery. They try to call him a sorcerer, like all sorts of like ridiculous things, trying to claim he's channeling it in, can't recognize simple mathematics and a simple scientific formula whatsoever. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, totally true.
It probably moves. You've got like the axis, but with the rotation, because the Earth changes a little bit. So that it's got to be a three kind of.
I've been watching a few guys, and they're actually saying the Earth is actually getting larger.
It's expanding, as is the sun. The sun's now a white pulsar. Yeah. It's getting bigger.
Yeah, and that's probably part of the reason why the color of the sun is different now than what it was in the 1980s. I remember the 80s. The sun was yellow. It's now white.
Exactly. I've been saying that so much. Thank you for agreeing and pointing it out from your own observations. And the only time you'll now see a yellow sun is behind the clouds, which have like chemical pollution in them and aren't just pure H2O vapor anymore, as well as especially behind forest fires, smoke, and smog. And then you'll see yellow, orange, and in extreme cases, red. but always white in the center when you take a picture, especially when it's just the straight sun.
It's totally
completely
changed.
white, and it's pulsing. It's now pulsing. It's literally transitioning to a white pulsar.
So
do you think helium, we're fusing into helium now phase, like because it's a hydrogen
goes,
and then
It's pure
the sun
white,
goes,
so any fusion I think could be possible in the white pulsars. No, it's
like suns go through cycles, right? Every so many years, like the Carrington event back in the 1890s, where it had a major coronal mass ejection, enough that it completely destroyed the telegraph system in the U.S. It fried it. Now, if today we were to have a Carrington event of the same magnitude, the question is, how much damage is it going to do to the power grid? Right now, is
all the fried satellites that did on one side.
It's not even that. It's our devices, our cell phone batteries. Any electronic device that we have. Who knows what the protection is that we have to prevent an EMP on these devices. Will they survive, or will they just fry? So like I'd say the Canadian power grid system is quite a bit more upgraded than the U.S. power grid. The U.S.
Yeah,
power
it still
grid
failed though. Like think of
work.
Quebec, but I guess that was an ice storm.
Well,
There's
no,
a
the Quebec one
couple
was
failures.
the Quebec one was a legitimate EMP that hit it, or coronal mass ejection. It took out their
80s or something.
No, not even that. It was just after. I think it was. If don't quote me on this, I believe it was 2013.
Yeah, the more recent one. That's right. That's right. I remember that.
That was in northern Quebec. It took out the power grid for like 2 weeks before they were able to. They were able to get it back online.
Do you know, like Obama's last farewell speech, he warned of EMPs. He was trying to tell the population.
Well,
yeah,
and
he
they
was like,
made him a movie about the collapse of society around that Obama directed, and then they put in theaters. If you haven't heard or seen it.
I don't know, but I listened to his last speech as just regular news, and they never talked about that ever again in the news. The dangers.
The other problem is too. You get a massive coronal mass ejection. What happens is it blows away the protective magnetic layer that protects the Earth. All right, so now our ozone layer is compromised, right? And because of that,
that's what old science said, but it's actually seeming to prove differently, that somehow our magnetic field magically adjusts every time we get a big blast in, and it somehow reacts to it and expands out and deflects it. And I just wanted to add one more point in about why I am putting forward it is 100% a white pulsar, no longer the yellow dwarf it used to be, and it's because there hasn't been the 11-year solar sunspot cycle magnetic pole flip in 3 full cycles now. 2001 was the first time in recorded history, going back in all of the records, every 11 years, the sun's poles, magnetic poles, would flip instantly at the end of the sunspot cycle as it reached its maximum, and it would go boop, and flip and reset. And in 2001, this did not happen. 11 years later, what year is that? That's 2012. The long count calendar Mayan prediction, sure enough, again in that year, the poles did not flip and there was no reset. And then now, it was 2023, I was watching, there was no sunspot pole flip again. And 2025 it is now, 2 years later, and they're like, you read anything on the sun, they're like, it should be in a solar minimum, but it's still in a maximum. And we think the pole is starting to move and all of this different stuff. And they're just covering up the fact that they have no idea what's going on, and that it is no longer following the old cycle of flipping its magnetic pole as it used to do every 11 years since recorded history. And that would reset the sunspot or the charge. And it's no longer doing that It's pulsing, it's growing, it's white, it's wild.
Well, let me just say something. I think the reason it's doing that, Bernie, is because there's something outside of our solar system right now that's adding capacitance to the energy of the sun itself. So the sun will not flip for the next couple cycles. And we're going to go through the age of Aquarius, where the actual Earth itself will expand a little bit. The water will go higher, and we're going to have to live with that for a while. That's just the way that the thing goes, because as soon as you add capacitance to any kind of field that's that big, by putting just simple, like your body next to a Tesla coil would do it, you're adding capacitance to it, so it amplifies the energy coming out of it. So when we do the research of the RAV, we're finding out that the higher the frequency goes in it, the more energy comes out of it and starts blasting out like a pulsar instead of a yellow sun. It's exactly what it does, and it brings up the frequency as you bring the capacitance into it. So it's telling you right there on high voltage theory what it's going to do, and there's a reason for it, because these things coming through our solar system are not the only ones that are going to come through. It is
how about
that?
How about that Atlas IE1 or whatever it is that's coming
big
towards us? It's very big.
I'm so excited that I'm so excited for whatever is coming, because it's something different. You don't understand. It's something real. It's not tech. It's not make believe. It's real. You know, like everything is pointing at that thing.
You don't
This
want
is the
that
first
thing
time
landing
that
in your backyard.
I don't care, but it's a new species for real, and it's not something made up or like flying drones or
I think they got Planet X wrong. It doesn't have a long elliptical orbit. We run through its orbit. There's a difference.
I think it changed its orbit a little bit. It's acting weird, or maybe that was just
it's moving on its own. They say this thing is not reacting.
There's
like
5 emissions of gases that's coming off of it. There is no way that this is a natural
I heard
thing.
there was only one, and it was only CO2 coming out of it.
Nope,
now
5 of them.
5? Okay.
5.
Because
there's 5 different kind of emissions. That has to be
strange.
Made.
You know it goes through Mars and Earth, like between the two, right?
Right, that's so insane.
This isn't good for us.
Yeah. I just wanted to point out one last aspect of the sun and it growing and being the white pulsar, and Nathan, your point of the energy, and one of the main aspect or sources of the energy coming in now to our solar system and hitting the sun are the galactic rays, the center rays. As we're hitting the galactic plane and starting to pass more and more into it, that we're directly bombarded by these galactic ray energy, whatever it is in that fields as we go more in, and that would be extra energy coming in that adds to our sun and the planets and the moons and everything, right? It's way more energy.
Everything in our solar system is going to pick up the energy. It has been for a while now. That's not good.
But yeah,
we're so used to one way of life. Trust me, it's not going to be good for us. With more sun, more heat, you know what I mean? It's like 102 out here when it should be like in the 90s right now in California.
Yeah,
it's going to get worse. Arizona goes out there and it starts to melt the lights on your car. You go outside and literally you find them like dripping on the ground. So that's not normal.
Are you saying that like Atlas entering into the solar system is creating more energy, or you're talking about the sun's
think about color? You're getting the first amount of debris that we're running into.
Okay.
There's more mass outside of it. So this is only the stuff that's in our solar system right now. Wait until the other stuff comes. Trust me, there's more out there, and it's going so close. You got to understand, you don't have to hit a planet. All you have to do is affect its magnetosphere. You understand electrical theory. Anything in the vicinity of a planet will change its magnetosphere. Okay? That's how moons work and stuff like that. So if it goes too close to Mars, you're going to see Mars change. And it's going to change the atmosphere on Mars. Okay? If it goes too close to the moon, and then it gets it closer to us, because it pushes back the moon to us. Neither one of those scenarios are a good thing.
No. And it also
I agree.
it also adjusts and changes a little bit from its interaction with Mars, and it's like currently it's going between the two. What's to
Now it
say?
could go to a different pattern. Yeah, we don't want.
I pray it don't hit us.
What did they say? It's like 30,000 feet away from Earth, not million, not like, or like 300, something about like
Yeah.
30. Yeah. So that's very close.
That
Well, think about it this way:
That's
if
like-
it affects a magnetic field in Yellowstone, that means Yellowstone erupts. That's what it means. If it's that close, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying it's what I understood. It's going to enter into our atmosphere because 35,000 feet is still, I think, within our atmosphere level. See, so you understand it's going to
Yeah, I
enter
thought
it,
it was
but it
further
won't touch.
30,000 miles, I think it is. But
I thought it was between Mars and Earth, not so close, not between the Moon and Earth.
I don't know, but I understood it was so close to Earth, like so close to Earth. And I was thinking what you were thinking. It's going to change the tides. It's like, you're going to
It'll
have
definitely, if it's that close, it'll
magnetic
change tides.
anomalies. You're going to have birds dropping out of the sky. It's going to create, like, it will shock the whole, airfield. I mean, we're talking the thing's huge,
it's
size of a
just going to
city.
randomly do a U-turn right as it's getting super close and looks like it's going to hit us. And they're going to be like, see, it's just a natural asteroid. Don't worry about it.
There'll be aliens doing the funky chicken on it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah,
got
it
it.
would be
Driven by
just
funky
interesting.
Hey,
chicken
you know
aliens.
what? Maybe your solar panels are going to put out more power when that thing hits. You'll get that big flash.
Yay.
I just think it would be
Dude.
interesting to see how this goes. If it goes that way, it's cool.
Well, they
If it
say it's supposed to transit us October 29th. So that's not that far away.
Oh my God, really?
And it's traveling at 56,000 kilometers a second.
Wow.
That's fast.
How fast is that?
what is
I
October
don't speak
29th?
that
What day
language.
is that?
What is a kilometer?
A kilometer, so it'd probably be about
So it's discovered.
40,000 miles per second.
Like
Oh.
this, Nathan.
Whoosh.
That fast.
That fast.
Nice.
Whoosh.
Kinda insane.
That fast.
It's a Canadian miles.
Kilometers.
I think it's faster than anything we could possibly stop at this point.
No. It's
Oh, we
doing
ain't
Mach-
stopping it.
It's doing Mach 40.
Yeah.
No, you're not stopping that.
I mean,
And
even
size of
even
it-
if we nuke it, at with everything everyone has, maybe
Yeah,
we
that's,
could nudge it. Maybe we
the
could nudge it a
challenge-
bit.
To Ashton Forbes. If the orbs and the wormhole portal technology exists, why are they not sending it at 3A or 3-1 Atlas or whatever the heck it is? Like, oh God, that would make sense, right? Like, let's teleport it out. But
this is a
I
big
don't see that
stone
happening.
coming at us. It's not a small one. It's very big.
yeah,
So if that hits the Earth, we're talking extinction event.
yeah, exactly. Why would we be risking that? Why wouldn't we be sending everything we have to try to prevent that?
Yeah. Where's Mel Gibson when you need him, man?
What if that was
Yeah.
the meeting that those like other side of the world were having the other day? They were all shaking, like felt like they were planning something. But I don't think everyone on planet Earth that's a leader is an idiot. Somebody's gotta be doing something about it, right? I mean, we're talking. This is the planet. It's not one little country. It's not one little city. It's the planet. Like everyone's gonna get affected. I mean, right? Just we're not in our own little bubble. We're not. We're still
But
part of
Lulu,
everything.
here's the problem. We're too busy fighting stupid, wars on this planet. But meanwhile, our biggest threat is up there. That
It's
can
an
take us all
everyone
out.
problem. It's
That
an
can take us all
everyone.
out.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we're so worried about fighting wars against each other and global control. Well, what good is that when you got a 30-mile wide friggin' rock coming at you at Mach 40 that's going to slam into the planet and decimate the entire planet for the next 3 to 4 million years before the next species comes back?
And even if you think you're going to survive this, you've got, I don't know how many decades before the air clears that you could, and this is if anybody survives underground, or
it's a complete ecological disaster.
like you come up, you would come out to a world that does what,
It's a barren land. Nothing's left.
Mm.
The whole ecosystem crashes. It collapses completely.
I
By
think they
the
should just
firewall and tsunami that encompass us all.
Yeah.
Yeah, go the same way the dinosaurs went.
Yeah, Bruce Willis can't help us in this one, man. By the way, I love that movie. Armageddon. They go up there and drill. Yeah. Always got to do it himself because
we'll get Gerald to go up
never
there.
Never going to get it done.
Get Gerald to go up there, put him on a friggin' Elon Musk rocket, launch him right onto it.
Oh, yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. You're talking about the flux. You were talking about flux space earlier. Mike, right? You were talking about flux space.
Yeah.
Flux space?
Yeah. Like because everything is in motion all the time. So
yes.
you know, if the magnetic field like oscillates a bit, you would need that for the null zone, right? Well, how would you know how much your atom can, from one point to a point have, malleability before it breaks or creates another bond with another structure to keep that coherent state in the flux?
Because they're all in frequency and in resonance, and then as soon as you break the amplitude of resonance, it deconstructs.
But then you have some elements might do phase shifting, they just won't exist in completely. They'll just disappear off of when you come back into, for example, gold. Part of gold, if you resonate it at like monatomic gold, this is if you resonate it could disappear because it phase changes. You understand? Into completely different. You can't measure it anymore. So how would you determine, your structure before it decides it wants to take a covalent bond, for example, and it changes then, or completely lose a charge? Either way, too works.
I've heard stories of gold
that's what I'm doing.
When you hit it with certain things, it will seem like it disappeared, but then come back to the exact same form that it was in before.
No, yeah, it has to come back to resonance. But if you don't create the atmosphere for it to come back, it disappears. It's gone.
Yeah, a lot of claims of that with monatomic gold specifically too.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's got to be one of the characteristics. Mike from space, welcome back. How are you?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, I've got a theory on that. I can say that pretty much all elements that I know of they start out on a linear plane. They start out from a two-dimensional plane. But anything that's born of ozone works a little differently. And ozone is a lot closer to plasma physics. So you're always going to have some type of a tendency to lean towards a torus geometry.
I like it. Continue more on the ozone, because you're bang on with that. And it's a crucial part of what I'm figuring out in my own work. But I'd love to hear more on the ozone levels, because it's like it keeps going up, right? Like there's 13 and like 23, and it gets up to like the 50s more and more, but in the monomolecule, correct?
Right. So if you really want to understand that, you really need to take a look at cosmicporch.com. You're going to see the discovery by Azra Wind. And she's actually not the first person to discover it. One of the guys that joined my group is, and his name was Peter Plichta. He found the first few relationships, and he died a few years ago. but she found them all. She found the whole map. So what it is basically a map of all the forces. And you have negative and positive and matter, and those are the first three forces. But then you get into others, and gravity is a differential. Basically, they're all really differentials. But what really astonishes me is that mainstream physics and even you guys aren't actually taking a closer look at this, because it's the key to the universe. It shows how everything that flows as a pole fits between primes. So the primes are sticky, and time isn't going to do anything but avoid the sticky spots. So because everything forms with charged columns, and charged columns interlock, they interlock into primes, what's time going to do? Time's going to avoid it. Time is what fuels that, and if it gets tired of fueling it, it's just going to go around it like a football shape. So that's kind of what gravity is. Gravity is where you have two electron neutrinos moving towards a galactic bulge, and they diverge from one another, and they go around the object that they flow around. In doing so, they hit that object at slight angles, and they cause the two objects to drift towards one another. And that's gravity in a nutshell. But to understand where it comes from, that's where the Phoenix effect comes into account. So you have particles that decay in the universe, and you have particles that are reborn from decay. And that happens to and from stars. So you get what's called flow opposition. Flow opposition is where, and we've tracked neutrinos changing state as they leave stars. So we also know that particles decay. And if we know this, then why hasn't anybody put two and two together? Well, I did in 95, actually after reading a Stephen Hawking article where he theorized that black holes are in fact creating particles. And he knew they were, he just didn't take it to any extreme study. But
and what was the name of this, what you came up with, so I can look it up?
So cosmicporch.com, and that shows the whole force map.
Cosmicporch.com.
Oh wow, I'm looking at it on my other one. Very similar to some of the Walter Russell and other octave scaling. You're definitely bang on with that. And if you want, can you explain a little bit more? I know a bit about what you're talking about with the prime numbers, especially, and that have you heard of like the prime quadruplets and how they're used in with it, especially with coral castle work? Have you seen that at all?
You know, I should know this, but no, it doesn't ring a bell. Doesn't ring a bell. So if it was geometry related, I'd remember that really easy. But when it comes to numbers, I never was a good physicist. So it actually took me years to come up with any mathematical theory to relate my work to the Planck constant. And even then, I struggled to get it across to people and didn't really write a physics paper on it. So I wrote a few books, and some people understand it, and most people don't. But the long and short story of it is that Azra Wind has unification minus the energy. So she cannot explain where the energy comes from to fuel everything. And that's exactly what I explained in 95. I had it on the web in 96. And you know what the Wayback Machine is, right?
Yes, sir.
So my website is on the Wayback Machine, and there's quite a few saves, so you can see that. It's if you really want to see that, I guess I could post it on my my discussions tab on my channel, but I guess I can't post links in chat anymore. Then YouTube hasn't allowed that for quite a while.
Yeah. I definitely would like to take a look at that later. And what I was referring to, so you're bang on with what you've been doing, and it ties into this other, I forget the guy's name. He was out of Australia. I was in contact with him a good 10, 14 years ago, and he used to run a website called coralcastlecode.com. inventors.com, and he had broken down the prime numbers into these prime quadruplet sets, and then was like mapping them out in with magic squares, and then it ties into the vortex-based mathematics, and eventually from those designs and deciphering Ed Leeds-Scallan's system using those prime numbers, he was able to create, and he had it online for a few years, these levitating like magnetic motor systems. It was quite wild. And then just completely disappeared, and have not been able to find him anywhere other than there's several epic diagrams that can still be found online that have his Coral Castle code color geometry matrix of magnetic flow in it. But yeah, it was a mouthful and a little bit off topic, but it does all tie in. Because what you're saying, it's like how time and space flow and the charge and dipole movement. Correct?
Well, it's quite interesting that I've never heard of the guy. I've heard of code144.com. That's not what you're talking about, is it?
I believe they were working together for a while, but they not the same. But I do believe that they did do some of the stuff together at one point.
Right. So starting in 2011, I started a club on the Coral Castle. I called it the Metatron Club. And it was $153 to join. I had about 45 people join. And I had people from all around the world join. Germany, Netherlands, Australia, Mexico, even a fellow who runs a quite famous magazine that's still running today, but I don't think he'd like me bringing up his name. And he actually supplied me with the high resolution photo that nobody knew existed. He got a hold of some originals of the Coral Castle, and that's what really clued me in on one of the biggest secrets about, really the final secret of where that second motor went in the circuit. So in the Coral Castle circuit, you have the three. You remember me telling you about the three-phase system where you get three things to resist each other, and
Yes, sir.
using that 120 degrees, because they have to suddenly jump from negative to positive, that will lean you into superconductive space, especially when you're doing anything with zero-point wave folding. So all you had to do is take the flywheel and use that as a motor generator, and pit that against two other motor generators. So the one on top, the tripod, was one of them, and it had the 6-inch casing. And we know that one was the 6-inch casing because he tipped the tripod over when he disassembled everything, and it fell so hard that it dented the casing. So you can even see this thing. It still sits in the Coral Castle today with the big old dent in the side of it, and then somebody ripped all the copper out of it, like they did everything else. But then you have the smaller motor with the 3.77-inch casing. I just remember all this stuff by heart because I basically put this whole reverse engineered the entire circuit at Coral Castle years ago in 2012. But those are the three motors that ran each other. And the flywheel itself was quite interesting. It had a lot more to it than just being a basic motor. So if it was just a hand crank wheel, you'd only need one layer, but he had 5 layers. He had a lot of interesting things going on there, like the whole magnets, the 5 layers of magnets. They were electrically isolated. They have they have mortar impregnated ceramic cloth below and above it, and there's no reason for anybody to do that if they're going to build just a hand generator. But he had built this to where the whole magnetic array of 24 times 5V magnets were completely isolated. And what that really means is that was building up its own static charge, and it was discharging every half revolution. I'm sorry, every half revolution. And that ties into why there's a cloverleaf shape on top, because you have 2 columns of charge that'll climb and then 2 that'll descend. If you look really close into the mortar inside the flywheel, you can see these little green balls. There's only 2 of them. And those are actually copper balls. They were static discharge balls for a high voltage emission. So you had high voltage coils kind of hidden inside the mortar there. And the reason they were there is because the thing, when you build up 0 point energy, you have to spill the energy off somewhere. And it took me quite a while to figure out where all the energy went. He had to have some way to burn it off somewhere, and that's where it was. But then the waste product, obviously, is your positive ion. That's what rained off of the tripod, the larger diameter motor. Obviously, a larger diameter motor because the positive pole is heavier, and it's always going to go to the outside of a rotation point. And then on the inside of the flywheel, you had you had a magneto block on the outside, and that's part of what both fed it energy and got energy back. But at the same time, you had this other thing, which is 6 standing cylinders that was an assembly that hung inside the flywheel. And that was part of the motor system too. And that actually worked to attract and repel the iron points on a caster wheel. Excuse me, my throat is dry, but a caster wheel, if you look inside the flywheel, I explain the whole circuit, everything in my last Coral Castle video, so you can see that and understand it.
I'm definitely going to have to check that out. This is absolutely amazing information.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've got more on my other channel on Rumble. I got kind of pissed off at YouTube a few years ago for saying they were going to force ads. So I was like, oh, forget you guys. And I took all my videos over to Rumble. So since then, I've re-uploaded a few of them, but just a fraction of what I used to have on here. But Rumble, same name, Mike from Space on Rumble.
I will subscribe. Oh, welcome, Jan.
Hey, Mike, you have glasses on your channel video?
That was my other one. Jan asking commuter style or inductive?
You say yes on the glasses?
Yeah, you're looking for the one that's got 5,600 subs. That's me.
Okay. I'm looking right now, sorry. Yeah, 5,773.
Okay, so more 57 and then, okay.
Okay. Let me just make sure.
A question, what's the high voltage is only polyphase absorption of the electrostatic discharge in which you walk? Is that the question? I'm not sure, just reading off in the chat.
Polyphase, describe, somebody asking me a question here? Okay, let me see this.
So here's the first part.
Polyphase absorption of the electric discharge in which you walk in, no.
Not sure if question or comment, sorry.
Temporary holding of space and then you get a recovery based. No. No.
And then a
Okay,
question.
so first of all, 0 point energy is completely inductive. It relies on the fact that particle physics is fully kinetic. So you implode charge and you implode it through layers of a dielectric, but it can start from anything magnetic. So you can have water, you can have ferrous material, or whatever else is magnetic. That's how it starts out. That's how you get a charge wave to get stored up and then implode as a powerful high amplitude wave. When you pass it through layers of a dielectric material, and by the way, I want to tie this into a material that you and alien scientists grew in the lab, the 25-layer bismuth zinc on top of, I'm sorry, it was bismuth crystal, and then you had magnesium 97 or 96.5 and zinc 3.5, right?
I believe that was either Jared Yates and Jeremy, or that it was what they found under the microscope of the arts parts sample that was like supposed.
Well, no, that was a Roswell crash sample, and I know this because I actually know a guy who knows the guy who owned the sample. And I think it was I can't remember the story because it's been so many years, but I don't think it was him. I think it might have been his father or a farmer. Somebody gave him that piece of metal. But from what I found out from other, and I'm going to get back to Coral Castle in just a second, but just really quick, that material doesn't do anything unless it's part of a completely sealed hole. It has to be charge sealed, so the whole hole has to be completely dielectric. And if you have any hole in it, it's not going to do what it's designed to do. And that material was actually coating the titanium alloy hole, but only on the bottom where they have these ripples. It's a really funny thing that it basically performs three-phase using just the shape of the hull of the spacecraft. But I don't want to get into that in this video. I'll just get back to Coral Castle. So basically, you're imploding through layers of dielectric. And when those implode through an infinitely small point, as I said in the last live stream, they have no choice but to become a single higher frequency if they're a pump Z wave. So how do you get a pump Z wave? You don't get it from sine waves. You get it from using a carrier wave and carried waves. And the carried waves have to be at least 3 times faster in order for them to get multiplied. Or actually 2 times faster, but in general science, you want to use 3, 6, 9, or some multiple of that to fold in on a carrier.
I use piezoelectric transducers, barium titanate, and I put that in parallel with the coil. So when I get the inductive reactance on the coil, with the piezoelectric help that situation as far as pulling in the negative energy into and through the dielectric?
Well, basically what you've got is you got 2 loops there, right?
Right.
Okay. So
it's like shorting it out.
A high frequency feedback, it's going to affect the primary, and the primary is going to affect the secondary. So because they're both tied together, it doesn't matter as long as they're tied together and nothing is blocked off by diodes or something that prevents it from performing resonance. And it actually helps your chances of producing 0 point, because in real 0 point you want to have honestly you want to have 3 loops, but in this case, when you have your high frequency, you actually have multiple loops in that single loop right there already.
Right, because because of that reaction that I'm getting, the amount of current that it takes to run the system goes down dramatically. It basically just runs off the voltage, not the current.
Right. In 0 point physics, and in the atom itself, the more efficient 0 point is always based on just a very simple principle: energy extraction and mass extraction. As long as those 2 can get away from each other through an efficient vortex that ties them together the most efficient way, then you have excellent 0 point. So iron is very magnetic. It holds up charge better than just about anything. So does water. You can suspend water about a 0 point device, form an ionosphere, and they literally disappear in space-time with the most simple, ridiculous little copper device. And it's scary to talk about. And so there's some guys on YouTube, you might know this. I forget who they were, but they came up and they showed a 3D CAD diagram for a little pyramid they made. And it was basically just a copper pyramid with 3 copper layers inside. And there wasn't a whole lot to it. The damn thing had a spark gap that was set. And as soon as they connected it up and set it on the table, the damn thing, it started up right away and literally disappeared. It flew up off the table and disappeared. They never saw it again. They don't know where it is.
Holy crap.
So without spark gap control, that design, it's an extremely efficient design because it focuses on the very foundations of the most primitive 0 point science that there is. So if anybody wants to play around with that, all you got to do is is get some tinfoil and a copper top that's got a nice sharp peak, and connect to the top inside of the pyramid with a little brass bar or copper heavy gauge wire come down, and you're going to run that out away from the pyramid, where you got 2 wires to control spark gap, and the other wire you run back in and you run it through the 3 layers of copper wire. And in their case, I'm surprised it actually worked without a ferrous material, but the air contains water, and because it does, it can become magnetic. So basically it kind of spawned its own 0-point field without any startup energy. And I can't say without any, though, because within 1,000 feet of earth ground, you always get charge modulation, and it's most prevalent about 14, 20 feet up, and then it really starts to die out. This is why people that live in brick buildings with no steel in them, when they're up above the 2nd floor, they have really short lifespans. They die really fast. They don't heal well. All the stuff in their fridge goes bad like really fast, because there's no healing field there. The healing field is maintained by not just the earth, but the sun, the earth, and the moon. So without our moon, we wouldn't actually have the field that allows us to sustain life here on Earth. And Mars, if you ever seen the meteorite they found shattered in a glacier up in Alaska, I think it sat in somebody's collection for over 10 years, and they finally looked at it with a microscope, and they found that it came from Mars. So some meteorite hit Mars and blew up some dust, and some of the dust actually ended up in a glacier up in Alaska. So it's got bacteria that are like 100,000 times smaller than anything that we have here on Earth. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's so small. And that's really because Mars has been dead. According to aliens, they say they had a catastrophe 238,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. But, from anybody's perspective, you can see it doesn't have a moon. So obviously it's not going to have anything growing on it very well. So I guess I need to circle back to the Coral Castle circuit, though, and somebody had the question about how the anti-gravity system worked, or was
yeah, absolutely, go right there.
So to be specific about anti-gravity and free energy at the same time, they're basically the same thing. As soon as you become really over efficient at producing free energy, you're going to produce anti-gravity, because your waste product gets super concentrated, and that super concentrated field is literally as heavy as gold. Why? Because it's the same format as gold. Gold fits into boson format 7, and there's only 7 boson formats from 3 to 9. And a boson format 7, when you interlock charge, that's what you get. You don't get 8 or 9, not without plasma. The most you get with anti-gravity is always going to be 7, unless you're actually storing it up through some means. But generally, it's 7.
I've always had that theory that if you don't achieve 0-point energy, you won't get anti-gravity. I've always thought that.
Yeah, and there's just no end to how much I could tell you about all these different ways you can do it, different plans for anti-gravity devices. The Coral Castle, not actually that interesting. The geometry is very interesting. It's very enlightening. So if you want to go to school for anti-gravity and physics, that's one of the greatest places to start right there. But you're only really going to levitate stones with it. So one day I set out to turn it inside out and figure out how to use that design to produce anti-gravity in a spacecraft. And what I came up with was something that reminded me of something I saw on the internet. It was a picture of an old UFO. And there was a very peculiar one because it had all these little light and dark spots around the rim of it, except once in a while, about every quarter turn or so, it would have a gap that was 50% wider. And I was like, what is up with that? So I did a geometric study of the photograph using the program called Blender. and I made up a model to see if I could get it to fit, and it did fit, and it fit by splitting up 24 points equidistantly plus extra 50% over these 4 points. So that's in my book. I used to have my book for free on the net for a short time, and then decided to take it off because I'm doing a new copyright. It's going to have much better info and a lot more detailed information, including a lot more math that proves the unification theory that I came out with.
Nice.
But,
Amazing.
That's one of them. There's this one that uses coils inside of the hole, and it has a spinning hole on the outside. And I figured nobody want to build that thing, so I kept going and I looked at other designs.
Can you tell more on that? Actually, we love coils and holes in the middle.
Well,
with spinning,
it would take so long. It's basically you have the Coral Castle 24 poles, but instead they're using coils. This sits inside of a hole, and that implodes to 6 larger standing coils with a 7th large standing coil in the middle of that, which is kind of like the Ark of the Covenant box plan that I came up with. And I think I mentioned that the other night. I'm thinking about taking that out of the book because it scares me, because somebody built that thing. They could create a pure energy beam that would basically cut through anything. But that's really not a very efficient thing as far as anti-gravity goes. If you want to make something that's really efficient, there's quite a few others. I think that particular one would be good as a flying metal detector. You could use it to fly over areas and find caves, caverns, and metal and everything because of the frequency it runs at. If you want to get a super over efficient power to weight ratio, though, you want something a little more advanced than that. So that's where you get into recycling the actual flow. So you know how a turbo works in a car. So if you're doing anti-gravity and you're pushing away your waste product, you're actually wasting a lot of energy, because you could use some of that to recirculate back in and compound the force using a compressed ion. And when you use a compressed ion against a tokamak design, my phone fell there, and you recirculate it, I realized what it's going to look like is something that David Adair once described. Have you ever watched the David Adair videos?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he talked about when he was 17, he was climbing on top of this engine that he said was alive inside Area 51.
Yeah, I heard that story. Yep.
I am 110% convinced that is not the case. This thing was not alive. But when he touched it, it did light up a lot more, and it did because it's basically, it contains magnetic proteins in cells. So you have silica vacuum bubbles, and a lot of them, they're very small, but as small as an LCD television, because it basically is the same thing, except it's all pure glass. So if you were to take a glass-based LCD screen and surround a torus or a sphere or something with it completely, and have only a single or a few very small outlet points where electron guns can jettison energy, pure energy out of it, what's going to happen is that material is going to polarize, and it's going to build magnetic tension, and the magnetic tension would go exponential as your charge started to go exponential at the same time.
Kind of like, could it be similar to like putting a magnet up to an old tube TV? Similar to that kind of thing?
Well, yes and no. When you touch an LCD television, like if you have one, I don't have one anymore, but
yeah,
when you touch it, your fingers have energy in them. You ever put a voltmeter up to your fingers, you got a little bit of voltage there.
Right.
It's the same thing. And when you put your biofield up against something, it's a little bit more than just measurable energy, because your whole system contains a lot of negative bias. It's got more negative charge than positive.
Right. Wow.
So when he touched that thing, basically he was just causing energy to flow through the magnetic materials and do the same thing that LCD television does. So that whole thing that he talked about being shaped like an octopus, I put that in my book too, and that has a series of tokamaks. So you have a pair of cones that aim at each other in the middle, and then you have a smaller set of cones here and on the other side of it, and then on one more set that's smaller yet. So you've got 5 sets, large, smaller, and smallest. And then you've got all these tubes that recirculate everything back towards the middle. And the only time you're getting rid of that stuff is on the very largest perimeter right around the biggest one. So you've got these vents, these flaps that you can open up and close. So you can have an intake and you can have an output. So you can intake the neutral ion, which everything needs to do. If it doesn't, it suffocates and crashes, like Victor Schaubager's first saucer. I don't know if you've read about that, but that's one of the first books I ever read. One of the first books I ever read about anti-gravity. And I ordered that from, this was back in like 1990 or 91. And I ordered that from Borderland Sciences, which was at the time in Garberville, and now they're in Arcata. And it was a terrible copy. Like, you could barely see the picture. It was absolutely terrible, but it gave a lot of really useful information about how you could take just regular water and spin it at 30,000 RPM inside a 3/4 inch tube. And you connect that tube back on itself, and what it creates is a anti-gravity type field, but the author of the book didn't know all the secrets to it, so it didn't have the full plan. The full plan is that it was just using carrier waves and a carrier wave, and there's a number of different ways you could introduce that to the system real easy, like with that pyramid thing I told you about. So that's just another one of the ways you can make free energy and anti-gravity at the same time. And the Schaubager saucers were made back during the war. If you read the story about it, it's pretty scary, because he was using Jews as slaves to come in and work, and they'd only work for a few days, and they'd ship them out because they were feeding them sawdust, and they'd all die of starvation. So Schaubager was the only real scientist working on the project, and he was forced into it because Hitler took his wife and daughter. But that was just one of the projects they work on. The one that was really powerful was what they call the Nazi bell, and they named their base in Austria after that bell. They called it the Glock, which is the bell in German. Well, I bet none of you knows where that bell actually came from. It's an artifact, an alien artifact. Guess where it came from?
Where?
From Borobudur, Indonesia.
Really?
If you ever go to Borobudur, or you look at search that online, what do you see in Borobudur? You see a temple. And what's the temple got on top of it?
The bell.
It's got bells in stones, stone-shaped bells.
Oh, there's a guy inside the little bell thing. I've seen that one.
Yeah, well, that was added later. That was the Buddhist thing. I don't know if the aliens were not the Buddhist people. That's kind of up for debate. They did have to rebuild that thing because it was falling apart. But the original had these crosshatch patterns of 45-degree diamond-shaped holes in every one of the bells, and a lot of the reproductions don't. They have square holes going around the thing because they were too cheap and lazy to do it right. But that bell, as the locals will tell you, and you don't even see this online, I guess I found out through comments on a YouTube video where some guy had visited and he talked to the locals. So the locals will tell you that there's 10,000 people there at the time, saw this craft come down land, and it stayed there for a while, at least a month. And it stayed there for repairs. Apparently, the unit that the Nazis got a hold of was a damaged drive unit that they left behind. It got mercury in it, and it ripped the thing apart inside. So if you got inside of it and looked up inside, what do you see? You see a whole bunch of layers of this dielectric material. It looked supposedly like copper with a greenish layer on top of it. And apparently, it's my theory that what that was is the same thing that Kesh produced, which is one of the most dielectric materials on Earth that you can produce with ease. And it's produced by taking a propane flame and putting that on carbon. That gives you carbon crystals on the copper. Did I say that right? Anyway, copper crystals with, well, carbon crystals on copper. And then you have one more layer on top the carbon crystals, and that's radium. So if you take radium and you grow it on top of the carbon crystals, it takes you about a month to do this. It'll make a super dielectric. You can do this on wire or anything.
I can actually show a demonstration of that right now. So he does it either through the plasma flame, which you just described, or also through caustic as well to break it down. And yeah, it's a key part. I'm glad you're covering this. Sorry to interrupt.
So it's also interesting that these guys, when they landed on Earth, I guess they didn't have radium. They had to get radium. So let's assume they did have it and they didn't do this, but I'd like to assume they didn't have it and they did have to go looking for it. Well, it just so happens that that temple originally was built in 700 AD. Well, there's something else interesting that happened in Moab, Utah in 700 AD. All the Hopi Indians were drawing all these crazy things, painting crazy things on the walls of the canyons. And what were they paintings of? Aliens. These giant aliens covered in veils. They didn't want the humans to see their faces. They were all veiled up.
Wings on like over half of them. Even the petroglyph scientists found or saw in Utah all had wings. It's wild.
Except for one. So there's one where they actually show these aliens standing inside of a ship that's basically made of spheres. It's just a whole bunch of balls. It's about maybe 20, 30 feet high, at least if they were human size. So apparently that was their mothership. And this ship they were flying in Moab was just a daughter ship, I guess you'd call it. So if you go to the mesa in Moab, before anybody that we know of in history did anything to search for radium or uranium there were already drill holes in the mesa. There was already radium left on top of these drill holes in the mesa. And that led to the discovery of the uranium mine that is directly across from Arches National Park.
I just saw that. It's wild and epic spot, and there's a lot of recorded paranormal or alien activity in that area.
Yeah,
How many bells were in that temple?
72 plus one big one on the top for the carrier wave, so 73 total. So it's 32 on the bottom, 24, and then 16. And they're all identical, except for that carrier bell in the middle.
And that's the one that they took to Germany.
No, I'm talking about the stone temple.
Stone.
Okay, but you said like where did that bell come from?
Okay, the metal bell was left there in the area of the temple. All I know is that the locals traded that to German sailors for a bunch of German dishes and other junk from Germany, maybe a car or something. I don't know. They got it through trade, basically. That was around.
Do you think it was a detection system? If the magnetic field or something changed, it would like resonate the bells, or were they used more of altering the, through sounds, through vibration, and they could maybe these vimanas or these space crafts appear?
That thing had to work in the vacuum of space. It flies at many times the speed of light. It doesn't rely on any material that moves. It's all solid state, except for the fact that the bells do telescope open as the spark gap is increased. So as the spark gap increases, the bell opens, and you also have the greater potential for the use of the field. So you get less field feedback, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to describe it in words. I'd have to show you the picture of the thing. But if you look at the stone bells, you can see that there's this point where these layers kind of fold in on each, like a perimeter. If you look at it really close, they're like the ends of leaves, and they're actually leaves of metal that they cut in strips and they attach to the surface of the bell. And the crosshatch pattern is interesting as well. That allows you to force magnetic current to take turns. So it does a positive flow and then a negative flow. So it does a perfect switch from positive to negative. If you didn't have that perfect switch as the carrier wave cycles, what happens is they'd intermingle too close to a linear plane, and that would create heat, and that leans away from superconductivity.
Makes sense.
And I could tell you about the whole circuit, but one of the most interesting things about it is that the Germans looked at this thing from the bottom up. They looked inside of it, and they saw the quad capacitor array that sits inside of that box. So if you look at the stupa at the temple, it has this little box. Well, inside that box is 4 capacitors, and the 4 capacitors are wound in a spiral formation with perfect 90-degree turns. And I think they cast this thing or something. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. But long story short, you look up in there, what are you going to see? You're going to see 4 spirals, just like does anybody going to get this? Nazi.
Oh,
yep.
The
swastika. Yeah, there we go.
That's definitely in the shape.
Now the swastika is reverse direction from the Indonesian sign that they call the power of love, or the power symbol. They look exactly the same, except one is backwards. Because the Germans are backwards. They looked at it from the ass end. But any plan, any schematic you look at in the world, you're always looking at it from the top down, right? It's just logical.
All right, on. Hey, Mike, we're gonna have you on our show, man, if you don't mind, on Mondays and Wednesdays, if you have time.
Yeah, if I got time, I guess I can do that. Sure.
Yeah, it's just one of them. I'll send you an email if that's okay.
Yeah, you got the address, I assume. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Well, guys, I survived that. We all got cold. Did you hear this?
Oh, everybody got cold?
All of us got cold.
Oh, and you
So
went
yourself,
on?
Phil, and who else?
Yeah, right. Gerald, me, and Phil. All of us got cold,
3.
almost back
Gerald
to back. Almost. Out of 60 people. You know what the odds of that are?
100% because it happened, and it was
100% because it happened. Is it? You're the smart one, Bernie. You got it.
How did they go? Were they impressed or what?
I mean, it seemed like it. So what did we get out of this? Gerald knocked it out of the park, describing his, just efficiency of his coil, basically saying, hey, listen, little bit in, plenty out. And this is how it kind of does it. And then they tried to refer to regular, electrical engineering, because one of the guys was a specialist in electrical engineering. And he's like, yeah, but you don't run stuff backwards. He knew it was coming, though. You know what I mean? So it was, but he said, well, yeah, but when you configure it in a certain way and et cetera, and he's like, and it does. And so they're like, come back and show us, and that was sort of his. And then mine, I got up there, said the same thing. Then they told me that I should, I should probably talk to the Gerald. I was like, oh, I know him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but they didn't naysay my stuff all too much, and I tried not to make any wild claims. I just told them what the idea was, kind of what it forms, and that we're seeing some interesting stuff come out of it. And the guy really, really wanted to see the thing, so he said to bring that back next time. So got to figure a way, because there's no screen sharing, so I'm not sure how to do that. But figure it out. I think we got a few weeks to make sure we get some, prime videos of that. And then Phil got up there and was doing his thing. But I don't think that they really grasped at exactly what he was trying to convey. So, he put his paper up, and basically it was like, extract some good stuff out of your paper, and we'll try it again. So that's sort of how it went. Yeah. Yeah, but it was a good time. It wasn't as carefree as, broadcasting here, but
No, at least you got on and got to see your face.
well, I mean, all three of us. That's what's crazy, man. I was like, no way. I didn't even know they were going to be there.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, well, it was a good time.
Well, Bernie, I think we've gone almost 2.5 hours. I think we'll wrap it up for tonight. We go live to air again next Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. Everybody stay on after we go off for a few minutes. Chat was great. Thank you very much, chat. A lot of stuff popping up on the screen tonight, that's for sure. We had a really fantastic lineup of guests tonight. So,
well, let me apologize. Sorry to interrupt you, but I got to apologize. I'm using my cell phone as a camera, so I can't really read the screen to see these comments coming in.
Yeah, there's a lot. Our chat is really, really strong. But we get a good lineup of guests like yourself. The chat board lights up, to say the least. So, anyways, again, thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see everybody next Friday.
Absolutely.
Peace and love.
Thank you all.